Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. For the last few years, I have been featuring each fille du roi king's daughter and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them, and we are on episode, let me think now, 241. We've come such a long way. We've got a long way to go. Stick with me. But before we can begin, let's show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. All of that helps that logarithm. And then the next three are ways to help the channel truly grow. We have Coffee, which is a standalone platform where you can donate however much you want, and Patreon, which is a monthly. And then we also have a YouTube button or a PayPal button on my website, How Roots Will Travel, that you can donate whatever amount you would like. So thank you to all of you who have done so far. It really, really touches my heart, and I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Thank you. So let's get started. So 241 deals with Francoise de Lacroix. She was a viewer request, and when I looked in my files, sure enough, there's the boy next door. He knows who he is from my childhood. And we will explore Francoise's life starting right now. So Françoise was born in 1640 in the commune of Conflans-Saint-Honoré in France. Her parents were Antoine de Lacroix and Barbe Cassin. As you can see, from the circle, she's from the region of France called the Île-de-France, which really is Paris and all its suburbs. She is born in the département, the suburb of Yvelines. Now, Conflans-Saint-Honoré is not such a small commune. It's got 35,000 people as of 2020. And it was actually named for its geographic position as the confluence of the Seine and Oise rivers. The village was given the addition of Saint-Honoré in the 13th century after the female Saint Honorina, whose relics have been kept there since 876. On your left, you see the Saint Malo Church, which dates from the 12th century. And this is just a little picture of the downtown currently of Conflans-Saint-Honoré. So this is where our beautiful Françoise comes from. Now, after her father's death, she left for New France, and she arrived here on June 30th, 1669 on Le Jean-Baptiste ship. Now, she did bring with her 1,000 pounds, very unusual. So she obviously came from money or had some sort of resources, because that is an unusually high number of a value for a dowry. Let's see the groom that she selected. The groom that she selected, and who selected her? His name, René Hubert. He was born in 1648 in Paris, France. His parents were René Hubert and Anne Horry. The church that he would have been baptized in was the church at Saint-Geneviève-des-Ardents. This church dates back to the 9th century with a very firm history since the 11th. It was destroyed in the 1750s, I believe, 1747, to make room for a hospital, actually, and later on an orphanage. It was found in the Ile de la Cité. I show you the picture of Paris up there. So you can see there's an actual island inside of Paris, and that is where René comes from. And it is part of the arrondissement known as the 4th arrondissement. And this particular part of Paris has been inhabited since the 1st century BC, when it was occupied by the Gauls. The right bank was first settled in the 5th century. Since the end of the 19th century, Le Marais has been populated by a significant Jewish population. And there's a handful of kosher restaurants and Jewish institutions as well. The 4th arrondissement contains the Renaissance-era Paris City Hall, built between 1874 and 1882. It is truly one of the most expensive areas of Paris, but it's also truly the most historic. So have a look at that when you get to Paris, because this is where René is from. René would come as a soldier between 1667 or 1668. We're not sure, but this is what the information that we have gotten tells us. On November 4th, 1669, they were married. On October 31st, they signed a contract, and they must have had second thoughts because they had it canceled, only to re-sign it on November 2nd. This is obviously unusual. So obviously, we had a little bit of cold feet going on, but that is their marriage record. They would settle down in Quebec City. Let's review a little bit about this very famous city. It's the capital city of the province of Quebec. 500,000 people live directly in Quebec City. Quebec was originally named by the Algonquins, who named the area Quebec, K-E-B-E-C, which in their native language meant where the river narrows. Quebec City lies where the St. Lawrence River narrows. Samuel de Champlain founded a French settlement here in 1608 and called it Ville de Quebec. The city walls which surround it still date back to this time period, making Quebec City the only city with remaining city walls in North America. There is so much to see in Quebec City, but I've chosen two pictures to kind of represent what may have been part of Francoise and Renée's, what they saw. And the bottom is Le Petit Champlain, which is known as the oldest commercial district in North America, and the upper left is La Maison Jacquette, which actually is the oldest surviving private residence in Quebec. It dates from 1675, and if you'd like to tour it, it's home to a famous restaurant appropriately called Aux Anciens Canadiens, roughly translated to our old Canadians, or to our historic Canadians. And then we have an illustration of Quebec in 1700 and one of the older style maps as well. Ended up having 7 children. Jean-Baptiste would marry Catherine Delaunay and have 10 children, 9 of whom would make it to adulthood. He would live to at least 1731, although we don't have a death record. He was 61 years old when his last child was born. Simon would marry Anne Larue and have 10 children, all of whom made it. His last child was born in 1725. Anne's mother was fille du roi Anne d'Aquin, who we have not yet profiled. René Louis would marry Marie-Angélique Lavergne and would have 1 child who did not make it. He would pass away, René Louis, at the age of 33. Françoise Marie would die in infancy. Marianne would be an invalid and would pass away at age 34. Charles François would marry Marie-Élisabeth Brière and have 3 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Charlotte would marry Jacques Pinguet and have 2 children, both of whom would make it to adulthood. In the 1681 census, we have René Hubert listed as a huissier, which means bailiff. He was 33. His wife was 41. Their children were Jean, Simon, René, Marianne, Charles. They have 1 gun, un fusil, 2 vaches, 2 cows, and 8 arpents en valeur. So that is 8, about 6 acres of land. René was truly a man of many talents. He was an attorney, a clerk, and a sheriff for the seigneuries of where he was. He achieved much in his life. René would become a seigneur toward the end. He actually became a seigneur of the Grand Pabot River, or Pabos North River, which is a river in the Gaspé Peninsula of Quebec, which has as its source Lake of the North, Lac du Nord, fed by streams of the Chic-Choc Mountains. And, it's pretty far away, as you can see. I wanted to find out where was this seigneurie, but it's an absolutely beautiful part of Quebec. Françoise's journey came to an end on October 12, 1711. She was 71 years old. They had been married, her and René, 42 years, and she had 51 descendants as of 1729. Now, René would carry on. He would marry the widow, Marianne Laporte, who is a fille du roi, who we have not yet profiled. They were married in 1711, and Marianne would pass away in 1718. For those of you who are wondering, these are AI-generated ideas or pictures of what I imagine them to look like. There was a third marriage. René would marry Angélique Faveron, who was about 35 years old when he was 70. And out of that union would produce 2 more children. Pierre would marry first Charlotte Lamoureux and have 3 children, 2 of whom made it to adulthood. He would then marry Marie-Joseph Chartier and have 13 children, but only 3 would survive to adulthood. Charles Régis would marry Charlotte Thibault and have 2 children, both of whom made it. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is René may actually you may be related by stepmother to the Fille du Roi. There's just so many ways. René touched a lot of lives. So I wanted to explore this. This is I think one of the very first times that a fellow has had more children out of such an older age. So it was just interesting to follow that he just kept going, And he also probably had the money and the stature to be able to get married and connect, if you will, with people. So I think that that's part of it. And René himself would pass away in 1725, and he and Angelique would have been married about 7 years by then. He was 77 years of age, which is a remarkable age for a man during that period. And here are some of the resources I love to recommend. La Société des Filles du Roi, the Filles du Roi Society, of which you can become a member if you can prove your lineage to one of the Filles du Roi, or a Carignan-Seigneur soldier as well. And you get a beautiful certificate. You can also join at an associate level. I think it's like $15 a year, and you would have access to everything that's in the website, which is quite a bit. So I would definitely encourage you to check it out. At least there are parts of the website that are available for non-members as well. Then we have Généalogie Québec, which is worth its weight in gold. I gladly pay it every single month. Société d'Histoire des Filles du Roi is a French site that is very, very well renowned. Quebec Genealogical E-Society kind of like broadens your basis. And then we have Nos Origines, and we have WikiTree, always WikiTree. And for specifically Filles du Roi Descendants, I would encourage you to go to the Facebook page, Filles du Roi Descendants. I think there's 6,000, 6.5, maybe almost 7,000 people on that site now. And it really is a good way of connecting with people. So I totally encourage you to do that. So ends Francoise de Lacroix and her story, episode 241. What a lady she was, coming here, definitely older, and with quite a sizable dowry. She was able to make a match and be able to truly be a helping mate to her spouse. And I am certain that René's success can be attributed as well to his wife and what she brought with her. Not only money, but I suspect strength of character and the ability to persevere. So for that, we thank her. We are grateful that she existed, and we bless her memory. Thank you, Francoise. And I also want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters and subscribers. You are all with me all the time, supporting me and giving me good feedback. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much. And I will see you on episode 242 of Les Filles du Roi. Until then, au revoir.